Hello guys, welcome back, welcome to the fish room. I am Rachel O'Leary, and I thought that today we could have a chat about tubs and placement and things like that as the season is finally upon us. Just trying to pull up the chat. Does my friend that breed carries have a website? Oh wait, let me see if I can remember how to live chat. There we go. I was the one breeding the carries. I'm not sure who you're referring to. So let me pull this up. So yesterday I showed you guys the status of the greenhouse and the tubs.
Why is it so hard for hardworking people to find a pair of reliable and durable...
Speakers are supposed to be off. And I realized because it's my 5th season doing summer tubbing on YouTube and my 12th or 13th year of doing tubbing in my yard, I didn't really talk about the choice of tubs or the placement of the tubs or things like that, all of which would be really relevant to you guys. So I doubt that this stream will last an hour because I haven't eaten and I have no idea where the day has gone so far, but I thought we could just talk about some of that and I could answer some of your guys' questions if you have them on that topic or on other topics. So one of the things that's really important to consider when deciding to try and use containers in your yard is the amount of light that you can get or the temperature range of your area. So there's not like a set rule for when tubbing starts. It really comes down to being aware of your own environment. The vast majority of the plants, especially lilies that we like to have in our tubs, require full sun, which means a minimum of 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight. And it doesn't really matter if it's morning sun or afternoon sun, they just need that amount of time. And if you have more than that, then you have to really pay attention to the temperatures of the tubs. Let's get food in her belly. I have, I woke up today and I have no idea where the past 4 hours went. This is chronication for you. Like, literally have no idea where my day has gone. How often or of number of years should water lily replant? David asked. I honestly only split them when they outgrow their container. So, I mean, they can go years and years. Chase asked what temperature can we start putting out our white clouds. Generally, I like it when the daytimes are getting into the 70s and the overnights are in the 50s or higher. They do really well then. And generally you start seeing fry within a few weeks. How to keep the tubs clear with goldfish? Well, goldfish are tricky because they eat a lot of the plants, but really the more marginals you add with their roots in the water, the more they're going to utilize the nutrients in the water column from the goldfish, and the clearer the water will be. Linval asked if they can use generic bagged garden soil as plant media. Yeah, you should. You just would want it to not have a bunch of added things. Like, so if you can get just plain dirt, like topsoil or something like that, it should be fine. Let's see. Yeah, someone commented that they live in Arizona. That the heat is an issue, but you would be amazed what a dense cover of plants can do for the temperature of a tub. It's essentially shade. So if you can shade the tub, then you'll probably be okay, and you would definitely want to aerate in that situation. Most of the time, tubs don't really require filtration, but if you're in a hot area especially, you want that turnover rate so that there's available oxygen in the water. What was my worst experience with tubbing? When Hurricane Katrina hit, we got an amazing amount of rain. I mean, as did everyone. There was water up to the knees, my knees down here in the basement, and my tubs overflowed so badly that they capsized. That was pretty terrible. I remember being out in the storm just trying to find fish and right the tubs and put things back in, and it was just a mess. Someone asked why do summer tubbing. There's a few reasons that I enjoy it. I really enjoy growing the plants. I like seeing all the flowers. The fish something about the combination of the live food and the UV really brings out their colors. They breed really readily. And I really like the auditory sound of, I make a lot of waterfall boxes and stuff. So for me, it's about enrichment in my yard that encompasses my hobby. So it just gives me a lot of joy. And the fish look great and they breed really readily for the most part. Leslie asked, they're in South Carolina. Do you think it'd be okay to put rainbow fish in my small pond? Yeah, I mean, I would think so. In the Carolinas, you're probably good to go right now. I know we are getting a cold snap this week, so I have to wait. But down south, you're probably in a good shape. Karen Lee asked, oh wait, no. Brutal Riot Girl asked, what about predators? I haven't had a lot of issues with predators. Now, other people have. I know raccoons can be an issue, cranes can be an issue. I keep most of my tubs right up against my house. So I have had very little issue with any predation. Actually, I've had none. The worst predator issue I have is actually dragonflies. So, you know, and that's just a matter of you can use netting or you can use chitin inhibitors to prevent the dragonfly larva from being able to molt and then convert into dragonflies. Philip asked what I'm going to be breeding this year. I think I'm going to move out my Danio tin wine eye, my glow light Danios, my CPDs, two kinds of white clouds, my blue shrimp, my yellow shrimp, my cherry shrimp. If I can catch them, some of the Brachydanio Chiaphit, the pygmy sunfish, maybe some guppies, and the Oryzius wowerae, I think. I don't know how many species that is that I just named, but I usually keep species-specific tubs just because it's easier come harvest time to sort than having combined bins. Oh, leeches. That is an issue all into itself. That gives me the absolute heebie-jeebies. Someone asked what was the first fish that I tubbed, and that would be white clouds, and I'm still working with the same line of fish that I started with all those years ago. Indoor fishing inside asked if the chitin inhibitors will interfere with Daphne or scuds. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing with an exoskeleton is particularly safe from the chitin inhibitors, unfortunately. So I've only used them 1 year out of all the years that I've tubbed. I generally find that if I take a net and do a sweep, you can pull out the vast majority of the dragonfly larva, and for me, that's most effective. Now, I can't remember if it was, I think it was year before last, there was a weird migration of dragonflies that came through the area, and I was pulling out 15, 20 dragonfly larvae a day, and I would find fish that were like, literally had chunks out of them from them. And that year I did end up using the chitin inhibitors because there was no way to sweep all of the larvae that was showing up. But that was, again, some sort of weird migration of a specific species of dragonfly that's not generally in this area. Best beginner pond fish for breeding. I think that white clouds are absolutely the easiest. Most of the more subtropical to temperate Danios are also very easy to breed outside. Now, of course, I prefer the small fish, so that's the recommendations I'm going to give. Let's see. Oh, someone got D. Kirkbride got a freebie from some blackbirds who are nesting. Stonecrop's awesome. Would I recommend pea puffers for tubs? Justice asked. Yeah, I mean, they would probably be all right. They probably breed. They're much easier to breed outdoors than indoors. So I don't see why not. Someone asked if I have problems with fish jumping out. No, never. But I use a lot of floaters, and again, I usually put baskets of plants around the edge of the tubs to provide that shade for the roots to grow into the water as a spawning mop, and just because I think it's beautiful. So because there's so much cover and there's like a barrier to the edge of the tub from all the plant pots, fish don't really jump. In fact, I don't know that I've ever had one jump. Let's see. What are my favorite basket plants for small tubs? Creeping Jenny is my favorite for the border of the baskets. I really, really like the variegated water lettuce. Water mint is really awesome. A lot of the Ludwigias are really, really great. I love a lot of the rushes and the smaller taros. There's just so many. What was that? It was called Sunset Loosestrife is one I really, really like. Mine's already flowering like crazy out in the greenhouse. It's really gorgeous and creates a really beautiful mound with bright yellow flowers. Society garlic is another really good one. It gets really cute little purple flowers and is very fragrant. I mean, there's so many plants. Generally, what I do is I go to a local store. Obviously, that's not happening this year. I'm kind of bummed. It's one of my favorite spring activities is to just go and like pick through the plants and plan my baskets and stuff. So I'm really lucky, fortunate, and thankful that I overwinter so many plants. And I'm kind of bummed that I don't get to have that shopping experience this year. It really does give me a lot of joy. Matt Callie asked if I worry about pH crashing from all the rainwater. No, not at all. I get a lot of rain in this area, so it's basically constantly getting water changed. Hi, Biggs. Someone suggested a native from my area fish tub. I could, but a lot of the fish that are native to here are not particularly suitable for aquariums later. Most of them require a significant cool down period to go into breeding dress, and they're only particularly attractive when in breeding dress, and the vast majority would be very labor intensive to keep in an aquarium. And I generally focus most of my efforts on breeding things that I want to have to be able to offer for sale or for restocking of my own aquariums. So I tend to stick with things that I like to have in the fish room, because at the end of the season they all have to go somewhere. Best place to get plants? Melissa asked, do you mean for ponds? I really like Texas water lilies for my pond plants. I've had really good luck with them over the years. Someone asked about using wild plants for my farm ponds. You would need to look at the legality from your area. Some places it's not legal to collect. Jada asked if I'm putting out rice fish. Yes, I'll put out the Daisy's rice fish. And then someone asked, how do I prevent the Passion's Journey P4P asked, how do I keep the tubs from overflowing from heavy rain? I drill holes along the lip of all the tubs so that it can seep out and the fish can't fit out. And if we get really, really profound rain, which does happen in this area, I'll go out and just drop the water line with a siphon so that there's less risk. What's my thought on Goodeids outside? They would do great. Again, heat is an issue, but that's where you have to find the proper place to place them, because with enough shade they'll cool down enough overnight that they won't overheat too terribly during the day. And if you really plant up the surface and have plants that provide shade, it should be all right. Now, of course, if you're somewhere where it's triple digits every single day, this might not be the case. You may have to do a shade tub in that case. Philip asked where I get my tubs. I buy, in this area at least, Tractor Supply has a really great range of the Rubbermaids and the Tough Stuff tubs. The low rectangular ones I got are made by Laguna, which is owned by Hagen, and fish stores should be able to order them, though you can't just buy them retail yourself online as far as I know. But I know like my local fish store can order them should you need them. Can rice fish overwinter in tubs if water doesn't freeze completely? I don't know. I never have tried overwintering any fish outside because, it gets really cold here. So I don't have any experience in that. So how warm should it be for guppies? Still pretty cold in Indiana. Yeah, generally fish addiction, I can't start really doing a whole lot with the tubs until Mother's Day, which I think is this weekend. But of course, we're having a cold snap. The whole Northeast is having a cold snap this week. So it may be pushed back a week. But, you know, you have to look at your own temperatures. Do the metal tubs they sell at Tractor Supply work well for tubs? I've never tried those because they're galvanized, and there's a lot of like, I don't know if it's fact or fiction that those are not great for fish. I generally prefer the black tubs, just out of personal preference. Cory catfish in tubs, Colin asked. You can do that. The reason I don't move out cories is the fry aren't particularly quick growing, so it can be great. They can spawn, you can get fry, but you're not going to get the same yield as you do with a lot of the like Danios and stuff that just spawn constantly, with like white clouds and Danios and things like that. I'll probably move out least killies too. You know, they lay their eggs, the babies grow, and the babies start spawning in season 2. For me, it's about that yield a lot of the times, although most fish would benefit. One of the first fish I ever bred outside was Brocus splendens. So it definitely is doable. It's just not as satisfying as some of the ones that are more prolific. Would the scarlet gobies be okay in the tubs? I probably wouldn't move out anything hill stream just because those guys really like a high oxygen content. So unless I was setting up some significant pumps, I don't think it would be of benefit to those types of fish. I mean, they're fish that come from river systems, not slow-moving waters. Is there a specific reason why your tubs aren't in ground? Because I don't want to dig holes. Plain and simple. I used to build boxes around them to beautify them when I only had like 2 or 3 tubs. Now that I have 18 tubs, I just put planters in between them and focus on the beauty of the plants instead of worrying about the tubs. Maya asked me to talk about the food chain inside my tubs. So I start my tubs, they're full of water now, and the ones in the greenhouse have been since March. And there's plant matter, and from that plant matter, Daphnia and scuds start growing, and Daphnia just shows up, and it is an amazing food. Now, I do use the BTIs in order to prevent mosquito larvae because my fish are too small to eat them, the mosquito larvae in general. But there's Daphnia in all of the tubs. So once the outside tubs fill up with water, I'll just scoop some of the Daphnia from each of the greenhouse tubs and seed the yard tubs with it, and within a few weeks they'll be just teeming with life, and the fish eat and graze nonstop. It's really pretty cool. Also, you know, from being outside, there's leaves that have fallen in there, and as those leaves break down, they produce all sorts of different little microorganisms that the fry and the fish eat. As well as the algae and things like that grow on the sides of the tubs. So it's really pretty magical. The circle of life, that's right. Let's see. How about ferns around the tub ponds? I have around my Tough Stuff one, which is the one that had that giant black taro last year. I put a bunch of pieces of wood and locally collected moss and ferns there, and it was really cool. The ferns haven't come back yet, but I'm not sure if it's still too early in the season. But that is something that's really attractive. I might even move this giant peace lily outside too because it's gotten so big. Have I seen the frog yet? No, it's still too early. Usually it's about June when I start seeing the frogs. Chas asked if I have to feed the tubs or if I just let them graze naturally. I don't generally have to feed the tubs. The only time I supplement the tubs with fish food is if I'm trying to take stock or inventory of the fish, or if I have had to use something to treat for dragonflies and the natural microcrustacean population has been compromised. For the most part, with now I stock them. I start out with them stocked pretty lightly. I may only move 10 fish out to each tub. So it's probably not till August or something like that I would even have to worry about the live food source becoming potentially depleted. Texas Fish asked if I use substrate on the bottom of my tubs. I do not, simply because I don't plant anything in the bottom, and it just is a place for debris to get caught. Now, there are some species of fish that I've worked with outside, like my rainbow shiners, that require a substrate, and in that case I do, but for the most part I keep them bare bottom. It makes it much easier at the end of the season to be able to collect all the fish and clean out the tubs, because I don't keep my tubs running year round. Putting substrate would mean emptying substrate, because I flip them upside down for the winter season. Danny asked if I'm doing any species combos in my tubs. I generally do species specific tubs, again, because it makes it so much easier at the end of the season when I'm collecting fish to be able to just scoop all of them out and then put them back into an aquarium in the fish room without having to sort. There have been a few years that I've done combinations, most specifically with fish that really look nothing at all like each other, because that way, when fry are small, especially all the Danios, they can all look basically the same. So, it can be a real sorting headache if you mix species and you're concerned then about being able to separate them when you move them in. What do you think I would do if I got overrun with tadpoles? That's honestly never happened. Rivet last year was a very lonely frog. He would call and call and call. And I used to have an in-ground pond, mini pond, and I used to get tadpoles in that, but I've never had that be an issue, honestly. Karen asked how I harvest all of the shrimp out of the tubs at the end of the season. I siphon out about 3/4 of the water, cleaning up the substrate as I go, and running that through a net just in case I'm accidentally siphoning up shrimp, and then I just net them out. Dropping the water line makes it easier to visualize the shrimp, and then I just catch them and move them into water that I've collected from the tub, and then move them down to the basement. Generally, I move in about 5 gallons of the water from the tub, and then over a week or so, I add small volumes of my tap water to get them back to the tap parameters. Someone asked about using glass aquariums instead of tubs. You can, just be prepared for them to be green. Glass in direct sun to grow those sorts of plants is going to be an algae farm. So if that doesn't bother you, the fish won't care. But if that doesn't bother you, then go for it. One of the reasons I like the black tubs is that they insulate really well, so they stay more consistent in temperature, and the algae is less prolific. Daniel asked if I've ever tried killifish in the tubs. I've done least killies, which aren't killies at all, they're live bearers. I don't really work with many killies because down here in the fish room, I don't use lids on most of my aquariums, so killifish are a poor choice for me. I have done plum killies outside, actually, Epiplatus annulatus. Those did really well. Oh, and Norman's lamp eyes, those too, but neither one of those are particularly prone to jump. Here Fishy asked if I run air to all the tubs. Most years I do. There's been years that I haven't used any air. Now in the greenhouse I have to because it gets triple digits in there because it's a greenhouse. In the yard I don't really need to, but I like to. Let's see. Would I ever trust a mystery snail to be in an outdoor tub? I have done mystery snails. You really need to make sure that the water line is dropped in a major way for them to be able to lay their eggs. And also there is the ethical side to that. Now, mystery snails wouldn't survive most climates, but you certainly would not want to potentially release a species that would have the potential to become invasive. So that would really depend on where you are and your proximity to bodies of water. Krista asked if I have substrate in my shrimp tubs outside. Nope. I do add some leaf litter though. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Kyoke? Ki? likes the idea of an outdoor tank, it would be a great way to start a green water tank. The easiest way to start green water is just put a bucket of water in the sun and add some like crushed lettuce or leaves or something like that, and it'll get green in no time. Lady asked about combining white clouds with shrimp. Because I want the highest yield as possible of my shrimp, I tend to keep them shrimp only. I would imagine that you could, but though you would certainly incur some losses to some of the baby shrimp just because, you know, they're live food. Does anyone have any questions about placement or anything like that? Pleco Guy asked if you can do Stiphodons in a tub. I would not. Those are fish that come from extremely fast-moving waters, so unless you are willing to duplicate the environment that they need, I don't think they would be a good choice for tubs. Hillstream in general, other than some of the Danios and things like that, I don't move outside. And even when I moved out my rainbow shiners to breed, I had a power head in that tub in order to provide current. So I guess you could, you would just really have to do a specialized tub for them. Oh, I stopped by the P.O. box. I don't know what today is. Today's Wednesday. I stopped, I think Friday or Monday or I don't know. Either the end of last week or the beginning of this week, and nothing was there yet. I'm gonna be going out probably tomorrow, so I'll check it then. I'm minimizing my trips out, but I'll need to get some food tomorrow, so I'll stop by then. Lady asked when you can put shrimp out. I would definitely wait till after this week. Maryland is generally, I'm in like this little microclimate because I'm only a mile from the river, and there's like low mountains nearby, so we are actually quite a bit colder in the winter and hotter in the summer than other areas. So my zone is technically 5B, but it's kind of weird. So down in Maryland, you guys are generally 2 zones warmer, and I know a lot of my friends down there are already actively tubbing. I just have to be a bit more cautious here in my microclimate. Catfish Cove, yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm over in the York area, so Limerick is not that far. Danny asked if I put up shade for my greenhouse tubs. Last year I tried out a shade cloth, but I honestly didn't see that it made enough of a difference to bother putting it up again this year. In the greenhouse, I just put all the tubs on the ground, and they're underneath wood shelving that I built, so they're technically shaded for part of the day. But I just don't move out fish that are particularly sensitive to heat in there. So that's where I'll put out like the live bearers and stuff like that that can take it much warmer. Pleco Guy asked if I'll come back to Florida and do a talk when this is all over, if I get an offer. I had a great time when I went to Neighborhood Fish Farm down in Miami. Now, I wish it wouldn't have been Super Bowl weekend because that was kind of a shit show, but that was a really great place, and I like Florida. I would love to come back to Florida. It just has to be, you know, I have to get the invite. I don't have a money tree, so it has to work out that I have a sponsor for a talk or a meet and greet or whatever. Hi from Pittsburgh. Are you in the club out there? Greater Pittsburgh Aquarium Society Incorporated, I think it is. That's a wonderful club. That was one of my very first speaking engagements way back when it was GPASI. Would I put 2 convict cichlids with 10 dwarf puffers? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Cichlids and puffers would be a poor combination. I would love to talk to Neighborhood about coming back. I really had such a good time. Actually, the ferns that I have up in the 150 that are growing out of my corner matin filter are ones that the owner pulled for me and sent me home with. I'm the weirdo that was walking through the airport with like bags of plants. It was pretty fun. Rhode Island. I love Rhode Island. I love New England. There's a really great store in Rhode Island as well. I was talking with my friend Joey. You guys know Joey, King of DIY, about doing some store tours through that area. So if that happens, I'll be sure to post it on my website and all my social medias to let you know. So that is a very real possibility. Where did I get the springy pot holders by the bog? They're homemade. Most of the cool things I have are homemade. So if you can't find something that you want to buy, make it yourself, is my philosophy. I have family in Pennsylvania. Do you say yins or y'all? I am more eastern Pennsylvania, so I'm more of a y'all girl. Yins is more Pittsburgh. More western PA. What is the worst fish tank mishap that happened to you? Sorry, I haven't been trying to ignore that comment. Probably when my 75-gallon birthday tank exploded. That was thousands of dollars worth of fish that were lost. It was very sad. You want to see how I grow my creeping Jenny by tub? I literally just buy it from the garden store, not as an aquatic plant. Stick it in the edges of all my pots, and it grows and grows and grows and goes through the water, sends out these really great long roots, and also colonizes the surface of the planters. It's a really great plant and super easy to overwinter. I actually just harvest it from gardens in my yard as well, because I have so much of it. I sort of stash it everywhere around all my various regular terrestrial gardens, so that I have it to then steal for my tubs. Carol commented that she enjoyed my DIY low budget projects. I plan to do more of those, especially in this like current situation. You know, we're going to have to get creative to do the things that we want to do, and I think it's actually, you know, it'd be easy to dwell on the negative aspects of all the things that are going on in the world right now, but I prefer to look at it as an excuse and inspiration to do more and figure more things out and, you know, get creative. That's my philosophy anyway. What would be the best way to grow creeping Jenny out of the top with a tank with a lid? You got to remember, with a lot of the terrestrial plants or pond plants, generally speaking, they're used to high light, like sunlight, which is not always the easiest to duplicate indoors without utilizing a high-tech setup. Fertilizers and CO2. A lot of times when you move pond plants in, they fail to thrive because they're just not getting the same intensity of light as they would outside. Can tiger lotus lily grow in sand? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have them growing not even in substrate, honestly. Anna asked what was my first fish. My first fish wasn't a fish at all. It was African dwarf frogs and mystery snails. Ms. Magenta is on my arm here. She was my first really impactful mystery snail. And then from working with those fish, I got interested in small community fish that would not be a risk to the snail's antennas or the frog's feet. So I got interested in small fish, and that's how I also started getting interested in shrimp and things like that about 17 or 18 years ago. So I've always just been a nerd. Steven says I inspired them to build some tubs. That's awesome. If you use Instagram, please tag me in pictures of your tubs and your projects, because it is giving me absolute joy to see what other people are doing. So many of you have done my Scrapscape challenge too. That's been awesome. I've been trying to make sure as I become aware of them, that I add them to the playlist on my home screen. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go and show all the creators some love. It doesn't matter what size creator. It doesn't matter if someone's never uploaded a video before. It doesn't matter if they've never edited a video before. I've been putting all of them that I find on that playlist, and if I just get tagged in images, I've been making sure to share those to my Instagram story as well, so that, you know, we can all sort of share our joy together. Let's see. Have I kept Lucania Goody? No, I haven't. I am beyond tickled that people are participating in that little challenge, and it's still going on. I know that Peck Tech is currently filming. I know that there's a lot of people that are still trying to come up with a concept. I know it can be intimidating to just go for it, but I want to be clear that while I gave myself the limitations that I could only use things on the floor, this could be hardscape, no water, of things that you find around your house or your yard. This could be a terrarium, it could be a saltwater tank, it could be a paludarium, it could be really anything. The whole idea was just to like let yourself have some fun and use what you have. Just the only rule that I think is really important is that you can't go out and buy things. You just have to use what you have. And I just wanted people to have fun, you know. It's a little thing, but I just, you know, sometimes it just takes someone saying it's okay to find joy and have fun for that to be possible within our own minds. Carla needs music. So on YouTube there is royalty-free music. Another thing that you can do is Epidemic Sound has a lot of music. That's where I get mine, and I pay for a subscription, but they also do a free trial where you can download music that is royalty-free, and there's a lot of options there. Hello from Poland. Hi. Oh, Jessica said it's the smile I have when I hear that I inspire you guys. You know, I think it's really special, the community that we have built here, and it's extremely rewarding. You know, you guys all tune in and hear me talk and stuff like that, but I'm literally just a nerd in my basement by myself. So when I see that people, you know, are applying things that I talk about, it is extremely, extremely heartwarming. So I really, truly, sincerely enjoy seeing your guys' projects and stuff. It's exceptionally rewarding, especially when you're having successes with things or trying new things. It's just really, really gratifying. Edward did the challenge. Did you make a video? If so, please send it to me. You can. My email is available pretty much everywhere. Or you can DM it to me on Instagram and I can get it on the playlist. I just realized I haven't had live chat on. I'm a professional. YouTube, Zaku said YouTube told them it was a regular vid in the live stream. I'm just impressed that YouTube sent out a notification. YouTube hates me. It doesn't send out notifications. It doesn't recommend me. I don't know if it's because I don't know. But so I'm just pleased you got a notification. Alexander asked, what are my favorite snails? Mystery snails, apple snails in general. I really like the Azaline spixie, the zebra apple. I love nearite snails. I love ram's horn snails. I just love snails, honestly. Carla, yeah, I'm going live every Wednesday at 1. I almost canceled today because I literally woke up today and was like, I have no idea where 4 hours went. I truly have no idea where my morning went. I can't believe it's, 1:40 in the afternoon and I have done literally nothing. But it's all like gray and rainy, so I don't know. I think I just went into like a vegetative state. I'm sure some of you can relate. Mariah asked if I feed birds. Yes, I have 4 bird feeders. I ground feed. I have a suet thing, and I have a hummingbird feeder. One of my favorite things to do is first thing in the morning, I sit on my deck, drink my coffee, and listen to the birds. I find it to be quite peaceful. Last year I had a hummingbird friend that would come and hover by my ear. It was great. Kaio said they would like to hear more about my terrestrial gardens. Well, I have a second channel for that. I've started putting all my content onto my Plantaholic channel, and it also has its own Instagram. I was concerned that it would alienate the people that were just here for fish, so I did about 6 weeks ago maybe create a second channel for that. And I haven't been putting out as regular of a content there, but it's not monetized, and also I didn't plan on not being able to buy new plants, so it sort of hit me in the gut as far as creativity. I did put out a video this week about Drosera filiformis, which is a sundew that's really great for beginners. Indoor fishing, thank you for the super chat. I like the steady stream of info, some real Johnny Five is alive type stuff. That's funny. Let's see, planning to do, oh good, Seth's gonna do my scrapscape. I really want to see these things, so thank you guys. Just again, either DM me on Instagram with your link or tag me in an image on Instagram and let me know what your channel name is so I can find video to add to the playlist so that we can all just enjoy them. Andrew said they wish they could do serious tubbing, but they live in a condo and can't put much outside. Yeah, you know, that is an obstacle. I'm really lucky that I have 2 acres and just can do so many projects, especially like in the current climate. I feel extremely thankful that I have so many things to occupy my time and energy. Although I have found it really difficult to stay motivated. So I thank you guys, because basically having a YouTube channel is what means I have to continue to do things. So you guys are really important in that regard as well. Thank you guys for the support of the new channel. Maddie's Photography asked if I would ever come to Australia. There are a few really good clubs in Australia, and I would love to go there, but that is definitely a trip that I could not afford to do on my own. So it would certainly have to be something that was coordinated through either stores or clubs in order to cover the expenses of the travel. But there was nothing I would like more than to come to Australia and Europe and basically everywhere. I love to travel. I really love to travel. This is the longest stretch of time that I've been home, except for during my knee replacement in almost 15 years. All of my travel is canceled all the way up through November. There's one event in September that hasn't been canceled yet, but I'm sure it will be. Anne said they don't have a green thumb. Well, here's the thing. Like, I think a lot of people feel that way because they try a plant and maybe don't understand how it grows in nature or understand its soil requirements or its water requirements. I truly believe that there is a plant for everybody. You just have to find the one that works for your level of care. Oh, good, Varshal. I will look for it. Thank you for the super chat, and I will look for your video to add to the playlist. And thank you to Alexander as well. Chris asked if my interest, Biggs asked if when I become an older aquarist, will I switch my interest taking pictures of birds. So what you guys may not know is a lot of the like really well-known aquarium lecturers, the older gentlemen, are super into bird watching as well. So, I mean, who knows? It could happen to me too, Biggs. Next time I come out to Winnipeg, you have to take me bird watching. Oh, that's funny. It's a lot of them that like to watch birds. I don't think I'll ever be an avid bird watcher, but I really do just enjoy nature. My favorite thing to do when I travel is to add on an extra day and really try and see what makes each area that I visit like unique or special, whether that's architecture or nature or whatever. I think a lot of people think that traveling as a speaker sounds glamorous, but the reality is you see the inside of a lot of hotels, airports, and convention centers. And unless you really make it a priority to experience the area that you're visiting, you can get absolutely no enrichment from the actual area. Kay asked if I've ever done aquaponics. No, I had planned to do that this year, but pandemic, so I didn't get any of the supplies. Next year for sure. April asked, she's in Western Pennsylvania, and when can you start to order pond plants? Now they'll start shipping. I ordered some floaters yesterday, and they'll be shipping. I actually got a notification this morning. So, now is the time that you can start getting pond plants online, at least in our climate. Any tips on setting up a plywood frame pond line or tank build? Indoors, I am certainly not the expert to give you tips on building aquariums, if I'm being honest. Biggs actually in the chat knows a lot more about building aquariums than I do. All of mine are just pre-bought, so I would hate to give you bad advice. I would prefer for you to reach out to someone with more experience than I. Do I still have blue cobalt gobies? Yes, I do. I have maybe 8 of them. They like a lot of flow. Oh yes, Surfer Design also did a really nice pond build. He's got a very good video of it on his channel. You could check that out as well. Let's see. The elders, you guys are cracking me up. I technically, for like by YouTube standards, I'm an elder already. I mean, I'm 41. That's kind of old to do YouTube. Would I have fish for consumption in aquaponics? I don't know. Possibly. I mean, I'd have to do something with them at the end of the season, so that's not a bad idea. I have a lot to learn about that before I start, and I didn't get around to it this winter, and now it's not a good time, so. Oh, so Damien's friend Mike is here from Barbados, I believe. I'm still a spring chicken. Well, that's up to debate. Chevy asked if I'm shipping yet. No, my county is still considered in the red, I think because of our proximity to a lot of major cities. It's getting reevaluated on the 8th, and I expect that we will stay in the red for at least another couple of weeks. So I am not shipping until we are out of the red. April said she would love a video about all of my pond plants. I have 4 years of videos of summer tubbing on a playlist on my home screen. I will, of course, continue to do more this year, and I also do a lot of that on my Instagram. But, it's sort of a balance for me here on YouTube about is it worth repeating myself on how I do things from year to year? I realize that there's new people coming in all the time, so it's useful for them. But I think what I'm going to do is not focus as heavily on the individual processes, but provide links to videos where I have in previous seasons so that everyone can get the benefit of what I'm doing, but the people that have seen it before don't get bored, but I provide the resources for the new people to be able to go watch. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what my nerd brings. I think the whole process is fascinating and fun, which is why I do it, but that video yesterday is a stinker. It's barely gotten any views, which, I mean, it doesn't matter, but it certainly always feels better when you put out a video and people actually watch it. So, I can't wait to start shipping again, too. I have to tell you guys, man, between not shipping fish and ad revenue plummeting, it is not a good time to be a creator. It's kind of brutal right now. I've lost about 70% of my monthly income from all of this. I mean, I'm fine, luckily, you know, like, we're fine, but I know a lot of people aren't, and my heart goes out to you. Pup314 asked if I would do a native tank, collect native plants and fish. That's actually illegal here, so no, I would not do that. And I mentioned earlier, maybe you weren't in here yet, that a lot of the fish that are from this area are not particularly good aquarium fish. So I feel a great responsibility to only move out fish and breed fish that I think I will be able to care for well for the long term, or be able to place with other people after the season's over. And most of the native fish here just are not good aquarium fish because of the seasonal shifts that we have. What substrate, Colin asked what substrate I would suggest in the pots, in the tubs. So I use, hold on one second, I might have one down here. Of course not. Ooh, I keep tripping. So I just use like the slotted baskets that are like $1 at the garden store, and I line them with newspaper, and then I just use generic soil, plant the plants, and then I put a cap of gravel or sand or really anything just to hold the dirt in, and that's my preferred method. That allows for the dirt to not leak into the tub, and it allows for great saturation of the media for the plants to grow. And the plant roots can grow through the paper, so if they're outgrowing the pot that you use, having that like latticed or open sides allows them to continue to grow. They don't get root bound. Ginger asked me if I know of a good source for shiners. Sachs Aquaculture, S-A-C-H-S Aquaculture, down in Florida is where I buy mine. I have some in quarantine now. Their prices are a little bit high, but I have ordered from them 10 times now over the years, and I've never had a bad order. So for me, that peace of mind is worth paying a bit more in most circumstances. Do I have any Juan Vista lilies? I do. And Michael asked what fertilizer tabs I use. I don't find that it really matters. You know, just generic root tabs work fine. Yesterday I used ones that I bought from H2O Plants, who's another creator that sells plants. Just, you know, I mean, at most of the stores that sell pond plants, they'll sell like root tabs. It really doesn't, I don't find that brand is particularly important. You just want something that is targeted for a root feeder. And for the lilies, I do fertilize every 3 to 4 weeks throughout the entire growing season. And in my climate, the growing season is April through October. April asked about recommendations on reliable websites to purchase pond plants online. I like a company called Texas Water Lilies. I have bought marginals there, I've bought lilies there, I've bought floaters. Last year I was a little disappointed in my order just because some of the plants were a bit smaller than I anticipated. But over the years I've used them for probably about 12 years now, and I've generally been extremely happy. I'm sure there are many other companies that I haven't tried. That's just one. I tend to be pretty loyal. So if I find a company that I've had a good experience with, I continue to use them rather than shopping around for cheaper or whatever. I try and support privately owned businesses, and they are one that is family run, which is also important to me. Can I recommend a smaller loach that's great for snail management? Not really. Most small loaches aren't particularly effective at snail management. Now, SIDS, dwarf chain loaches, may be your best bet. They can be a bit pricey, but they're really gorgeous, but you would certainly want a group of them. Michael asked what growing zone I'm in. I'm in 5B. I'm in a microclimate. I mentioned earlier, this area is kind of weird because we're pretty close to the river and also close to some low-lying mountains. And topographically, it's extremely hilly and windy, and so we're in a little microclimate. The rest of the area, even just a couple miles away, I believe is 6B. I've never gotten plants from Dustin, but I would. I haven't. Someone's asked me about maintaining red aquatic plants. I am not a guru on high-tech plants. I would encourage you to ask someone else. Do I like pennywort? Yes, I love pennywort. Heavenly said, oh, that's funny. Got working on a 55-gallon stream paludarium. That's awesome. Thoughts on the Laguna Stick once-a-year plant fertilizer? April, I have no idea what that is. I'm largely unaware of a lot of products. Caitlin asked about my favorite floating plants. In tubs, I like to use Azolla, Salvinia, water hyacinth, and sensitive fern. Thank you, Amanda, for being here. I appreciate it. Hello, Dominic from Portugal. Let's see. Have I ever used water sprite? My secret shame is that I can't grow water sprite. It's the only plant that logically I should be able to grow, but I just have complete and utter failure. So now you guys know my secret plant shame. Thoughts on water lettuce? It's just not my preference, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Someone asked what fertilizers I use. I don't fertilize. I don't use CO2. Oh, good. I'm not alone. There's a bunch of you in the comment section that are saying that you can't grow it either. Cheers to that. This is coffee, for the record. Haven't asked about a hardy plant for crayfish. I wouldn't worry so much about it being hardy. I would worry more about it growing quickly. Maybe something like Anacharis elodea would be good because that can grow quite quickly. In your favorite cup, this is a cup I painted with my daughters, and I go and paint pottery sometimes because I'm a middle-aged lady. And this is one of the ones that I did the last time we went. Let's see. All right. I said I wasn't going to do an hour, and here we are 57 minutes in, and my stomach is grumbling. So if you guys have any other tubbing questions for me, let me know. I had planned to take you live outside, but Mother Nature had other plans. It's currently pouring down rain, so sorry about that. Gap Filler says they're killing some water sprite right now. You know, I have some limping along around the corner, I think, but man, I'm a bone thug water sprite murderer. Sedgehammer loves cephalopods. I have an octopus tattooed on me as well. It's not done yet. So yeah, I plan to do an outdoor live. I think it'll be fun to do once all the lilies start blooming and stuff, and I can just share with you guys like all the cool flowers I get and what, or when my bog garden is in full flower, it's going to be so bonkers this year. I have more flower spikes than I have ever seen. There's got to be like hundreds of flower spikes. That, if you guys like the carnivorous bog, it's going to be a banger this year. Cold water algae eater recommendations. Trapdoor snails would be my best recommendation for you. They are incredible. Offstage asked what I do when I call shrimp. Do I give them away or freeze them? I have a 75-gallon aquarium where they go to live out their life, or I'll sell them for $1 a piece to people who just want, you know, like whatever shrimp, if they're not concerned about lines or, you know, color forms or things like that. You know, they also make really good feeders for prey-driven fish. So that is an option as well. But I never kill them. I have enough aquariums that it's not an issue for me to just pull them out of the colony that I'm trying to reinforce color forms and let them live somewhere else. Where do I buy my carnivorous plants? I tend to try and buy my carnivorous plants specifically from the same zone I'm in. I just find that they tend to do better long-term if they're grown in a similar climate. So I buy from Carnivorous Plant Nursery in Maryland. It's owned by Michael Cesi. I've been there in person a few times, and his plants are bonkers phenomenal. And he's an extremely knowledgeable guy, and his website is full of a lot of information. Actually, on this channel, I have a video of him giving a presentation on overwintering from probably 2 or 3 years ago now. We're in the same carnivorous plant club. Thank you, Christina, for the super chat. So, you know, there's a lot of really good carnivorous plant places online. There's Sarracenia Northwest that's really good, Red Fern Exotics. There's some great ones on Etsy. I can't remember the name of the one that I bought from on Etsy. But, you know, generally I just try and buy in at least my loose geographical region. I just find that, like, the plants are less stressed from the transit that way. David said he's never seen trapdoors. Do they have another name? A lot of times they're called giant pond snails. They're often sold alongside goldfish at, like, the places that sell pond plants and stuff. Sarah asked, has anyone grown cannas in tubs? I do. I did last year. I had a beautiful, beautiful canna, and I was able to overwinter it, so it's growing back, and I'm really excited. It'll go in the waterfall feature of my 300-gallon. Last year, it got as tall as me, and I had these big, beautiful red flowers. It was really rewarding. Favorite carnivorous plant? That's like asking which kid is my favorite. That would not be fair. But if I had to generalize, I would probably say North American pitcher plants, Sarracenias in general, are my favorite. But I don't have one cultivar that is my absolute favorite. Well, I think on that note, I am going to go eat some breakfast at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with my morning coffee, which somehow has become afternoon coffee. Remember, guys, if you do my Scrapscape challenge, make sure you message me or tag me or at me so that I can see it and add it to my playlist. As always, I hope all of you are staying safe, staying home, and I'll see you in the next video. And thank you, Candy, for moderating.